to Nightline. I hope you enjoyed our first hour of worship here at Hope Church Simpsonville. It's a youth worship night. Can I get a We've got a live audience here tonight. We have a lot of youth here, and we've got a little bit more than youth. Now I can see you guys a little bit better. If you're watching from home, we're so glad that you've tuned in. We hope that you've been blessed so far. We are going to continue our night here with the youth pastor, Ben Panos.
Hey, everybody.
Let me hear it, people. And we have our youth coordinator, Evan Fax.
Hello.
Ooh, getting a little love here tonight. So I have to share with you guys a little story. So my son Chase, anytime someone says something, he likes to say facts. So what we started doing is me and his dad, we say Evan Fax. And Chase would be like, stop doing that. So every time he says facts, Brad will say Evan Fax, and sometimes I'll say Macy Fax. So we talk about you guys a lot at our house. So I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about Hope YX, which means Youth Experience.
That's right.
So share with me, Ben, a little bit about what God has been doing with the youth group, both combined with Spartanburg. We're 2 campuses now, so with the youth in Spartanburg and in Simpsonville.
Yeah, so we're definitely growing. God's doing some great things. Every week we hear testimonies from both campuses about someone having like a powerful encounter with the Lord, and them either during worship or in the message, or even like before service or after service, someone just has a really, really genuine encounter with God, and that's been happening almost every week since it's just been different things, and the Lord's really blessing us. He's sending us new people every week, and the cool thing is, like, it doesn't matter where you go to school, if you're in high school, middle school, if you're homeschooled, like, everybody's accepted, everybody feels welcomed, and it's just really, really exciting to see what God's doing right now.
Well, I know it's been growing tremendously, especially here in Simpsonville with it being a newer campus. Can you give me, Evan, some examples of maybe something in particular with someone that you've seen God do in their life just over the amount of time that you've been in their lives and seen them grow?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the really cool things that I've noticed about myself is that I preach a lot on leadership. And so equipping the next generation and them understanding that God doesn't call the equipped, he equips the called. And so one thing that we've really been able to really start, and it's really taken off, is called the core, where students that see student leadership on their lives get an opportunity to serve in different areas. And so people that have chosen to be a part of the core, we've actually given them more responsibility. And it's really helpful from like a logistical standpoint, because like I'm not trying to sit here and stay at church until 10 o'clock cleaning stuff. So like I can ask the core kids to do that. But then the other side of it too is when that new person comes on a Wednesday night, the kids from the core just almost swarm them and surround them and make them feel like, hey, this is home. Like, you are welcome here. And so that's just really super encouraging from a leader standpoint to see kids that, when you go to a new place, you're really scared. You think nobody's going to talk to you, but like you've got like 7 or 8 people coming straight up to you to talk to you. It really makes you feel like you're a part of something.
Well, I think that's awesome that you're building leadership in the kids that way and really helping them. I think you can find pockets of groups, but when you have that and you're encouraging them to go up and say hello, you're breaking down those walls. Yeah. So what about you? How is that working with you guys in Spartanburg?
Core leaders, where y'all at? Oh, that was weak. Core leaders, where y'all at? Oh, go ahead. That's all. One more time. Core leaders, can we get a witness here? Thank you. They represent youth experience very well.
Very well.
No, same thing. Like Evan said it all. Like we realized that in our ministry, we had a lot of our leadership and a lot of our roles were done by volunteers who were older. And since we've launched the core student leadership team, people are taking ownership. It's not just that church; it's my church. Yeah. It's not just like the place I go, but it's the place I serve. And I think they're getting invested in from me and Evan personally, but also from other leaders in our house, like our pastors and stuff like that. And it's creating opportunities for them to learn things now, whether it's like leadership principles, opportunities to serve now, to where when they get older and even when they get their first job or they move on to college, they'll have really just a strong foundation for what it means to be a leader and what it means to be a leader in the world. So yeah.
Well, explain how you guys are ministering to the youth and what is one of the most important things to Hope Church while you guys are ministering.
Well, for us as a church, Hope Church, we exist to lead people into the life-giving presence of God. And whether you're 99 or 9, that doesn't change. And so from the kids to the youth to the main adult service, we exist to lead people into the life-giving presence of God. And so when we launched this campus and even when we launched Spartanburg, that was our goal, was that we would keep the presence of God first. And so we worship every single week. That's non-negotiable. When we have events, when we have Christmas parties, we worship still because we value that. And we know that when God shows up, anything's possible. And so that's number one for us. We just believe that the presence of God is if we honor him, he'll honor us and bless us. So.
Well, I think it's definitely important. And it showed tonight that you guys all of Hope Church hosts the presence of the Lord very well, even through the worship. And what do you think about the youth group here coming out on a Friday night? Like, isn't that kind of amazing?
I thought that was crazy. So I was really bummed when you said it earlier, because that's what I was going to say. Like, man, y'all could have been anywhere on a Friday night. Yeah, sweet. But you guys, honestly, this is so cool that you could have been anywhere on a Friday night and you chose to enter into the presence of the Holy Spirit. And I think that says a lot about who you guys are, about your character, and about who God is in you guys' life. Whether he's number 1 or number 4, that's okay, because he says, come as you are. But the fact that on a Friday night, when you guys could be out there doing who knows what, you chose to be here tonight. So I think that's really awesome. I'm proud of you guys.
And I think that really shares a little bit about who you guys are as well as leaders. And so I just want to say from, parents, from Brad and I, thank you to the both of you for pouring into our kids and pouring into all of the kids that are here tonight. I mean, are these guys pretty awesome or what? Well, you talked a little bit about, how you guys kind of work with the youth group. I know you have different things that you do each week. You have an experience night. You have a worship night. What else do you guys do on Wednesday nights here?
Small groups. Yeah. Small groups, water balloons.
Color Clash.
Color Clash. Next week, be there. Yeah. Color Clash.
Now, let me ask you real quick about the small groups. How do you feel that those are important? Like, where do you see them come into play with the kids and how they connect differently in a small group versus just everyone together?
Yeah, so there's corporate worship and there's corporate gatherings, which are really good, but in a growing church, that could get really intimidating really quickly. And so one of the main goals of small groups is to take a large group and make it feel like a smaller family. So I actually call our small groups smaller families within the big family. And then just the ability to do life with people that are your age, that are your gender, that they're going through very similar things. That say you're a new kid that's going through a lot, but you're not super comfortable expressing that. Well, there's somebody that's your same age going through that same thing, and they might say, hey, I'm going through this, and now that you're going through that, you're getting help indirectly because you didn't have to say anything, but you're listening to what other people are saying, or as iron sharpens iron, so does one brother sharpen another. So small groups are just one of those things that have so much value when you got a large group, but you got the ability that there's a person that's older than you that's been there before that really wants to walk through life with you, as well as your brothers and sisters in Christ.
It creates a sense of intimacy as well, and I think connects those kids together more. Well, we've been talking to you a little bit about this youth group, and I wanted to share a video with you guys so you can kind of see quickly into what Hope YX looks like. So enjoy this. that gives you a little bit of insight of what Hope YX looks like. And if you're looking for a youth group, then we encourage you to come check it out. If you've got one at your home church, we encourage you to go there and check it out and get connected, because I just feel like it's really important. I think back to times in my life where I was a part. I met my husband in youth group. Can we give Brad a shout out? I mean, so ladies, it can be very important. Just saying. So we have two girls here with us. Evan, why don't you introduce who we have here?
Absolutely. This is Bella J. Cole. Yeah. That was louder than the applause I got. That's impressive. But Bella, we wanted to ask you, since you started coming to Hope YX and Hope Church, what has God done in your life?
Well, I think he's been teaching me a lot and growing me a lot in the past year, so I've only been coming to Hope YX for like 2 months. Yeah. And I feel like just starting to come, he's like, okay, I've been teaching you this, I've been growing you in this, now experience it. Now experience that freedom and that joy and that power that comes. Yeah. So it's just like he's been growing me, and then it's like, now, okay, experience that. And experience that with other people your age who also want that same thing.
That's so cool.
And how old are you?
I'm 15.
15. In what grade?
11th.
11th grade. So I also wanted to say that you're now singing in the worship band, right? My girl sings. So I just wanted to point out that she came into this, her whole family came into this church not knowing, they knew a few people, but walking into a youth group is different than walking in with the comfort of your family. And she came in, and I'm sure it was uncomfortable, but she was obedient to the Lord and put herself in an uncomfortable situation, and he has elevated her to new positions. So I'm just so proud of you and where the Lord has brought you in such a short amount of time, It's being obedient in the small things that he's asking us to do, and he elevates us for much more. All right, Ben, why don't you introduce who you have here from Spartanburg?
I would like to introduce Abby Hawkins. And Abby's she grew up in our church for the most part, and she's been a part of Hope YX as long as I can remember. So, Abby, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right, so I go to Spartanburg Christian Academy, and I love it there. I'm a junior this year, and I'm really excited, and I'm expecting God to just blow me away. And also, I've been going to Hope YX for about 3 years now, been consistent with that and stuff, so it's really growing. It's really inspiring me to just get in the Word more. And also, the Lord's just been teaching me about just worth and value, just saying that when I say you're worthy, you're worthy. When I say that you're called, you're called. Yeah. And literally, when we know that about ourselves, we can do anything, and that we can just worship God freely at the front row, and we can talk to our friends about God and not be afraid of how they're going to respond, because we know that the seed that we plant, it's going to harvest in its time. Yeah. And I grew up in a divorced home, and I've struggled with rejection and insecurity. And I really feel like the Lord has just set me free from that ever since I've come to Hope Youth Experience. And every time someone rejects me, I don't feel as rejected. I don't feel as much pain about it, but it's just really good to have that peace now and to have freedom and to walk in it. And it's okay that it's not completely freedom, but you just keep on walking in it and keep on saying yes and keep on grabbing the hand of God, and he'll just lead you to wherever that he will take you.
It's good. So good. So proud of you, Abby.
That's awesome. I'm so proud of you. I just got to meet you tonight. So you were saying, it gives you it sounds like it's giving you a boldness to kind of walk out your faith. How is that? Are you in public school system?
No, ma'am. I'm in a Christian school,
okay.
Spartanburg Christian.
How is that even going into schools with other kids, whether it's Christian, there's non-believers and believers in both the public and the Christian schools. How have you felt being able to share your faith with your friends around you?
Right.
Have you been, does that come freely, or do you feel intimidated by that? I mean, you sound pretty bold to me.
So with school, it's kind of weird because it's a Christian school. We have chapel every Wednesday, and it's just kind of like hard to tell like who's really into it and who's not. But like I really feel like it doesn't stop me from freely worshiping. It doesn't stop me from sharing with my friends, but I do feel a lot of fear about stepping out sometimes, but the Lord has just been calling my heart to just step out and step out and step out and keep on saying yes to Him and to say yes to anything that He gives me, whether it be words of knowledge or dreams or visions, because I believe that the Lord will certainly open that door for me if He would like to, for sure.
Well, we're super proud of both of you guys and for
Yes.
just having the confidence and boldness to come up here and share. I wanted to talk to you guys too about, you guys have been really intentional about getting the youth together here, and not only with youth group and worship, but also intentional with doing fun things. Like you guys have been whitewater rafting, which I'm going to be popping some pictures up on the screen. I'm going to have them show some pictures. I think I have a really good one of Evan. But you guys have been whitewater rafting. You've gone to Top Golf this summer, Lake Day. You've done a lot of fun things. So why do you feel like it's so important to be intentional and have the kids develop friendships with one another?
Well, I think like a lot of times there's two sides. They're either like people think you have to be super spiritual all the time and not fun, or super fun and not spiritual, and everybody's pointing fingers at each other. And I was like, why can't we just do both? Why can't we just grow in the Lord and have fun together at the same time? And so this summer, like we committed to doing these summer fun days, and even like our youth group, we always play basketball and have different games before service and stuff. And I really feel like that's part of it. Like as a Christian, you just don't sit in rows, you sit in circles with your small groups, with your friends and stuff like that. And so if you're not doing things to build relationships with the people you're running with, then you're not going to get that far. Yeah. And so one thing we really decided to do is, one, like open it up this summer for people to have fun things to invite their friends to, but also like to show them that like Christian kids aren't weird or like different from anybody else. Like we have fun just like everybody else, and actually more fun, I think, a lot of times. So really, it's just about creating opportunities for us to have fun and do stuff together. So
have you seen new connections made in that between the kids?
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy to put on an event on a Wednesday night and just say, hey guys, come to church. But there's kind of that stigma in the world of, oh, I don't want to go to a church. But if you take something like an event like that and go somewhere like Top Golf, or go somewhere like whitewater rafting, but like it's opening the door up. I did not enjoy whitewater rafting one bit. That was the worst event that we did. But you guys loved it, and that's what matters. But like when you do stuff outside of the church, it allows you to, one, not only invite people that would not normally come to a church, or two, other people will see you having fun outside the church and say, I wonder why they're having so much fun. What is it about them where we could be doing the same exact thing, but they're having way more fun than us? What is it that they have that's different than what we have? And it gives you an opportunity to just say, hey, look, just come hang out with me. If you look at Jesus' ministry, it was all relational. He just made relationships with people, and that's why being a Christian is a relationship with God, because when you are able to build those relationships, people will grow, and they'll grow, one with their relationship with you, but another with their relationship with Christ, and they'll be encouraged to draw nearer to God. So I think that with everything being so relational, going out and doing something outside of the church is almost as important, if not more important, than what we do within the four walls of the church.
Yeah, I definitely think it's important. That's where they can develop a friendship and then bond and connect with one another. And, the friendships can be deeper in their time, when they're together here. But if it's like the small group, it's going out as a family and doing things together. I remember things that we did in my youth group growing up. I lived in California, and so we used to go to the beach. We'd have beach days. And, we always had so much fun doing things like that. And that's where you develop those friendships, and it's so many great memories to develop. Now, growing up, I did like this youth retreat every single summer. And every summer it would mark me and make changes in my life. And I know that you guys went to Texas this past summer at Youth for the Nations. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and just share what that is and kind of what took place there and what you saw. You know, there's kids from all over the United States that come there and be together. So, Ben, why don't you share just what YFN is and how you see the Lord work, and not just YFN, but in atmospheres where kids are taken out of their normal everyday life and just put into an atmosphere surrounded by other kids that are on the same page with them.
Yeah, like the great thing about like Youth for the Nations and like a camp experience is like you get pulled out of like what's normal. For us, we sit on a bus ride for a really, really long time.
Really long time.
If you don't know the person sitting next to you, you do when you get there. You know, you hear a lot of different things. You smell a lot of different things on the bus ride. So there's a lot of relational things that happen on the bus. But when you get there, there's a guest speaker every night. They have worship, like just like what we did tonight. Like sometimes, like I'm like I don't want to go to that camp because our worship's better sometimes. And so like we're really picky. That's why we have to drive halfway across the nation to find somebody who can worship with us. And so there's worship. We encounter the presence of God, and then every night, like the Lord just lines up really great guest speakers. And for the camp experience, we're taken out of everything else, and we're placed in this room, and these speakers, they invite us to make decisions for the Lord, whether it be a first time like salvation, or the Lord's challenging us to lay something down at the altar. A lot of people, even like in this room, have experienced the power of God for the first time, been baptized in the Holy Spirit for the first time, and in atmospheres like that. And sometimes, like for me, it's good, I think, because we've got so much noise like all over. You know, we've got our phones, we've got TV, like all that kind of stuff, our friends. And then when God pulls us out of all that, it's like he turns the noise down on everything else so he can speak to us clearer. And for me, some of the moments that marked my life were at camps and conferences like Youth for the Nations. And so that's one of the highlights of my year, along with Encounter Conference. But it's the same thing. Like God just marks us and meets us where we're at. So people's lives are changed, and I guarantee you they're never going to be the same.
Yeah,
I agree when you go away like that. And, you know, my kids have said, I feel like I'm closer to kids I met on the trip than I am to kids I've known my whole life.
Yeah.
Because there's a connection that happens in their spirits with one another. And whether, you know, it could be any trip, whether it's just a 2-night getaway or a whole week getaway, I think it's important to encourage the kids to disconnect from the busyness of life. I know that those kind of trips really impacted me growing up. What did you take away from that? Because that was your first time you and Macy went to that.
That was the first time that we went to YFN. And I was apprehensive, so I was like 18 hours with a whole bunch of teenagers on one bus with one bathroom. But we made it, we survived. And I asked one of the students, I said, at the end of the trip, I said, what was your most favorite part of YFN? And he said, the bus ride. And I thought, are you kidding me? Like, that was not mine, but okay. The bus ride, he said, yeah, the bus ride, because you spent all this time with somebody, like, you become family. And so as soon as we stepped off the bus, we were like, and when he said this, I had this vision of like them stepping off the bus and like pulling these swords out, like not today, Satan, because we're going after this as a family. Like, we are ready to do this. And so it just kind of set the stage for the whole week of YFN, and it was just an incredible experience, one, to be there myself. I'll be selfish. It was awesome for me. But two, to see our students from two separate campuses get together as one family of one church and really see miracles happen and chains break. It was an incredible week.
Yeah, my kids went, and it's something that we've decided is an investment into them that we'll make for future as well. We've got a few minutes left. We got about 2 or 3 minutes left. What would you say to someone who's looking for a youth group or already has one that they're not attending, why it's important to get there?
Oh, wow. You need to go to Hope Church. No, I'm joking. The cool thing is, like, what we're believing God for, like the revival that we're believing God for, is bigger than Hope Church. It's bigger than the churches on this street here in Simpsonville. And so we're believing God to move in our nation in such a way that every church is packed, that we're have to like meet in stadiums and football like arenas and stuff like that. And so for me, I would encourage you, like the Bible says in Psalm 92 that those that are planted in the house of the Lord will flourish even in old age. And so if you're not plugged into a church, you need to get plugged into a church. You need to serve. You need to get planted somewhere so that you can grow. Because like what God's wanting to do in your life, isn't going to happen on accident. It's going to happen when you're intentional. And so with everything, there takes effort. It takes some stewardship on our part. You know, because God gives us a lot of things in seed form, and it's on our job to plant them, water them, take care of them, and see them produce fruit in our lives. And so if you're not planted somewhere, you're not going to produce fruit. It's just not going to happen. You'll be stunted. And if you're looking for a youth group, you will grow here. You'll be challenged. Every time you walk through these doors, you'll be challenged to be friendly. You'll be challenged to worship. You'll be challenged to say yes to Jesus every week. And so that's the one thing we can guarantee here, that the Lord's going to do something great in your heart when you come to Hope Youth Experience. And so get planted.
Absolutely. You know, if you're watching tonight and you don't have a home church, we would love to have you here at Hope Church, either Simpsonville or Spartanburg. We're all one family here. But if you do have a home church and maybe you've disconnected from them, you know, we encourage you to get connected at your home church and get your kids involved. It's important. And they're going to do what they see you do. They're going to do what they see their parents do. You know, if you're getting connected with them and you're doing small groups yourself. So we just encourage you to really find your people. You know, and ask the Lord to put those people in your life. I know that He has for our family. But I just want to bless our viewers and our live audience here tonight. So Ben, would you just bless them and close us out in prayer tonight?
Yes, Lord, thank you for all that you're doing in the upstate, Lord, and even at Hope Youth Experience, God. Thank you that we have a place that we can gather together, worship together, Lord, and build community with one another, God. And right now, I just pray for every person watching online, Lord, that they would find where they belong, Lord. If they're far from you, Lord, that you would draw them in, Lord. If you've been speaking to them about getting planted in the local church, I'd encourage you to speak to them as to where. And I just pray for every need, Lord. If there's been a miracle, if there's been a place where we've been lacking, Lord, I know that you're going to fill every single one of those needs to every single person who's watching online, God. And so, Lord, I thank you for the life change. I thank you for the encounter that we've had tonight, Lord. And I just pray right now that you would seal it, Lord, that you began a good work in all of us, Lord, and you're going to be faithful to complete it until you return, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see you next time.